In this quick tips video, I show you how to set up an AI multi-class race in iRacing. Before I begin this video, I'd like to say a big thank you to all those people who have subscribed, liked and commented on my previous videos. Your support is very much appreciated. It occurred to me the other day that while I've seen various different YouTube channels promoting multi-track AI racing, some crazy stuff out there, I'll link some of those below, I haven't seen too many explanations of how to do this. It's fairly straightforward, it's just a bit fiddly. Let me quickly go through it. Load up the iRacing screen. You have your Go Racing here, that's obvious, your series list here, and you can select a race. But underneath is AI Racing. And here you can create seasons and opponent rosters and everything. We're just going to do a single race here so that you can see how to set up multi-class racing. Click on the single race button and it brings up the single race selection criteria. I've got Alton Park circuit here, but I'm going to change that by deselecting Alton Park first of all and then adding a track. I'll click on add track and I'm going to select fairly at random the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval track. Okay, that's now selected and we've got the track options here. With the multi-class it tends to be a rolling start with the double file back, so I'll select both of those there. We'll leave fast repairs at 1. You can have as many as you like for an AI race of course, or you can disable it completely. Then we go through to setting my car. Now I'm going to race the Global Mazda MX-5 Cup car, so that here is selected. If you wanted to select something else, you just delete it and come in. I've got just favorited here all of the cars that I currently own, or most of them anyway. And you select the car there. And here you can set the weather. I mean, I find that iRacing tends to use this selection of weather, but if you want to change it to something specific, you can do. Here you can set the race sessions. I don't bother with the qualifying or the practice when I'm doing an AI race because I just like to get straight into it. But here you can set what you want the criteria to be. Now in the production car challenge, it's in fact a 20-minute race. And so I'm going to change that from laps to minutes and leave it at that. And here we have the different cars. Now I've been playing with this earlier, so we've got some different cars selected. If I go in here, it gives you the cars. I'm just going to delete these so that we start again. Okay, and we save that. Whoop, I've got to have at least one car in here, so I'll put in an MX-5 and we've added one car. We'll save and edit that. We're going to add all of the cars from the production car challenge, and that's usually quite a few Mazdas and quite a few Toyotas, but I'm going to balance it a little bit here just to create optimal race that you would like to see, although in the splits that I've been in I haven't ever really seen the Ford or the Clio, but we're going to add them in anyway. First of all, we want to add as many Mazdas as we feel that we need. So we click this right hand button, not the select button, this little down arrow here, and then we can add how many cars that we want. I'm going to put in 8 cars and add driver with random values. There we go. And that brings us up all of the Mazdas that we need there. And now I'm going to add the Toyotas. GR86, again, I'm going to click the downward arrow here so that I can add 8 of those with random values, and there we have them there, Toyota GR86s. And we'll also put in the Renault Clio here. I'm only going to put 4 of those in because I don't ever really see that many of them. And then we're going to add the Ford. And again, I'm only going to add 4 of these because I don't really see that many of them in a normal race. And we select that. Now we've added all of the cars that represent the production car challenge here. Now this button here, if we wanted to race them all together, we'd hit that, as all cars are in a single class. They're racing all together. If you've got a GT3 race or a GT4 race, then this is the button that you want to hit. We're on the production car challenge, so we want all of the classes to race separately. So we hit the use car classes button. You can also alter the intelligence and relative strength of these cars. If you see anything with 100%, I tend to alter that down a little bit. You know, relative skill 100% sounds a little bit freaky to me. And also relative skill 0% sounds a little strange to me, so I'll alter that. And once I'm happy with the relative skill levels of all of the different cars, there we go. I will save the edits, and then I can go back to here, and I can also edit this roster so that I've got this for future. And I could say, okay, we'll call this the production car challenge, and we'll save that there. And then if I want to come back to this at any point in the future, I can load in what I want, the Mazda car, the PCC, whatever, and they will all be there. Once you're happy with the selection of the cars that you've got and everything's in place with the level of ability of those cars, you now need to set the number of AI drivers. This is usually set here. This 25 is the number of cars that you have already selected in this list. Make sure you wrap that all the way up to 25 so that you have all of the cars displayed. And then put your grid position. If you're not selecting qualification, then I always stick this right at the back. Then it's a challenge for me to work my way from the back through the different cars. If you're using a different type of car, if you're using the Toyota GR86 or something like that, then you'll need to position this so that you're somewhere in with the GR86s, or you will need to select the qualification button here so that you end up in the right place. And once all that's done, then you can push the continue button, and that will then of course load the interface. And then once you're inside the game, the grid will form. There's me on the orange there right at the very end, and there's the pace car now setting off with all the cars in hot pursuit. It looks quite impressive when you first see it, but this does take a bit of a stress on the system. I've got an i5 13600K, and that's combined with an RTX 3070, and still I do struggle to maintain frame rate when I am using AI, especially when I have this number of cars out there. There's a lot of computation going on there. It's actually slightly more demanding when you've got this many cars than when you're doing online gaming, would you believe. So the race gets off to this warm-up lap, and then it sets off in earnest. This is the first lap, about halfway through now. In the first part of the race, AI tends to be a bit cautious. It tends to not want to get involved in accidents, and as such you can end up looking at a bit of a car park as you go around the track. But once the faster cars begin spreading themselves out, then it becomes really quite an exciting race, and you can get the odd occasional clonk from an AI driver, although you can set that as well to not do that if you prefer, but of course that reduces even more realism from the AI experience. But generally speaking, if you're racing AI in multi-class, you will get a facsimile of what you would get on the track. Perhaps it's a little bit more polite, a little bit less chaotic. In some ways, it's a better race than when you're against humans who are fallible to a finite degree. But it is exciting, and you will get some good practice out of it, and you probably also will improve your lap times. You'll certainly get used to racing with other cars. That doesn't mean, of course, that you won't occasionally come a cropper. Yeah. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe. Click the little bell icon if you want to be notified of any future videos.